Hello everyone! Welcome back to more Final Fantasy XIV Online, where we are officially in Stormblood now, I guess. And you know what that means. There's more than likely an opening to watch. So I'm kinda looking forward to that. The last opening for Heavensward was pretty epic. As well as the opening to the base game, Realm Reborn, so I'm kinda interested to see how this one plays out. Plus, this is kind of a cool title screen. Oh, here we go. Okay. Oh my gosh. Yay, we're slowly opening the map. Oh, I didn't realize Garlemald was that far away. Okay. Oh, there's multiple things gonna be going on now. Oh, did did my sound just cut off? What? Yeah, it did. Okay. Oh, oops. A little too much collateral damage. So this Doma then? Okay, 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 okay. Okay! Holy cow! Hey, Vanilla. Yeah, a lot of talking to NPCs, but I'm fine with that. Yes. Yes, log in. Oh, but I still have more things to do before I can continue on with the main story. I have more sky pirate shenanigans and going back and fighting the primals. Oh, goodness. But still, I'm looking forward to it. The raid with the sky pirates is interesting. With the ghost ship. Yeah. No. Alright, and speaking of, let's continue on with it. Leoford. Aye, 'twas a bit of touch and go in places, I grant you, but here we all are, and all with our bits still attached. This calls for a foamin' flagon of... Hold on. Ain't we missing someone? Didn't I tell Utada to wait for us here? Never fear, we've been keeping the girl company. Oh. But enough about her. Did you see the cannon on that ship? As you know, my dear Leofed, I am not easily moved, but the sheer power on display set me all a-quiver. Well, I hope you're content to admire it from afar. That vessel ain't for the likes of you and me. Do not presume to measure me by your own limitations. Besides, I believe I've shown how resourceful I can be. Which brings me nearly to the point. You have in your possession a device capable of tracking the ghost ship. Hand it over, or your engineer shall suffer the consequences. Perfect. A compass pointing the way to my just reward. A weapon like that belongs in the hands of someone with the will to use it. Come, lads, our business here is concluded. I'm sorry, Captain. They caught me off guard. You get a bang on the head or summit. The man I know would never give it in to scum like her without a fight. Unless... What did you do to the compass? Who, me? Not. Besides slipping a link pearl into its casing, like. So long as Rodlia keeps it close, and you can be damn sure she will, we'll know exactly what them thieving bastards are planning. Anyone care to wager how long it'll take her to notice me little gift? That's very clever and all, but how were you proposing to stop her from getting her hands on that derelict and its great big cannon? I haven't worked that part out yet, but I expect it'll start with us keeping a close eye on the Talons. Before we get into any of that, though, I've got some questions what needs answering. I don't know what kind of voice to give the cat. You wish to know more of the Void Ark, the ghost ship as you call it. The Void Ark, so that its proper name. Aye, I'd like to hear whatever you'd care to tell us, Puss. And I, for my part, am curious to hear your stories. Ere we continue, however, I must insist that you address me by my proper name. Kate Sith. Ah, okay. I believe that was a character from 7. I did not get too far into Final Fantasy 7, though. That's a game I need to play again at some point. Both the original and the remake. But for now, I will not respond to puss or cat, and most decidedly not furball. My tale begins long, long ago in the city of Mach, which once stood in the lands of Yafame. The sorcerers of Mach were masters of destructive magics, and they brought that terrible power to bear against Amdapor and Nim in the War of the Magi. The titanic forces they unleashed, however, took a heavy toll upon the land, ultimately resulting in a colossal flood that drowned the realm of Eorzea. A catastrophe, which my master High Void Mage Caesar was wide enough to foresee. Wait. Colossal flood? Are you talking about the 6th Umbral Calamity? I suppose you would know it as such. Now where was I? Ah yes. When they learned of the fate that awaited them, the Maki Magi began construction of a gargantuan vessel that would bear their people to the skies and to safety. The operation of the Void Ark, as the ship came to be called, was entrusted to Caesar. Prior to that, of course, my master had been a prisoner in her own home, confined to her outspoken opposition to the war. So the Ark was meant as a sanctuary. Then how did it come to be so, what happened to all the people? And where did all the void scent come from? By what power do you imagine such a mess of craft remains aloft? The energy required to raise the Ark was siphoned from over 1,000 otherworldly... I cannot speak. What the heck? Otherworldly servants sealed within the vessel. Advances in Makai's sorcery were made for one reason and one reason only: cataclysmic destructive power, and the swiftest and most dangerous method of acquiring that power was through the enslavement of void-sent entities. So the creatures on the derelict, they broke free from your master's control? At the very heart of the Ark, the Void Mages had entombed a great ruler of the Void Scent, Scathach, the Shadow Queen. But in order to control so potent a prisoner, a mage of adamant will was required. A being Mach's preeminent sorcerer, Caesar was deemed best qualified. Were it otherwise, my master might never have been released from her own imprisonment. Yet even with Caesar's peerless skill, the Shadow Queen could not long be subjugated. One after another, the lesser void scent awoke and ran rampant within the ship. In the end, Caesar and the 53 void mages aboard the Ark sacrificed their own life energies to return the fiends to their coffins, leaving me, a lowly familiar, to watch over our derelict prison. If I remember me umbral eras right, the stuff you just described happened more than 1,500 years past. which is a good while by anyone's measure, and since everything seems to have been quiet on board your boat till just recently, I'm thinking something unusual must have happened to wake the inmates. Inmates up, my warm. One day, a void scent that had taken the shape of a bat flew into the ship at first. It was like more than a nuisance that had brushed away, but the longer it remained on the ark, the stronger it seemed to become. Eventually, I could not contend with its power, and it began shattering seal after seal. Abi looked upon the true form of this fiend as he broke the chains holding the queen's coffin. I can only assume he is one of Scathach's subjects, intent about bringing about her return. Well, that explains that then, except for one small detail, namely where the queen's coffin went. After it fell out of the ship's belly, I'm assuming it didn't just disappear, right? You recall the great rift that the ark's cannon ripped in the sky? That was a void gate. Such a portal opens a temporary path through the void, allowing the ship to travel almost instantaneously from one location to another. The void scent, as you saw, only opened a gate large enough to displace the coffin. As for the coffin's destination, however, that is as much a mystery to me as it is to you. I beseech you, conquerors of the Ark, help me find the Queen's coffin, ere the wards binding Scathach are dispelled. Smells to me like an adventure, and who knows what ancient Mackay treasures we might stumble along the way. Gods know they'll make a nice change from all them Allegan tombstones we've been collecting. Hey, can I have them? If you don't want the tombstones, I'll take the tombstones. I'm just saying. I will help you. I'm not risking me hide for the sake of the realm, you understand, but I'll be damned if I let either Adelia or that bat-winged bastard take the freedom of the skies from me. You care only for how you might be inconvenienced? If the Shadow Queen were to return, it would have dire consequences for this entire star. Count your blessings, Furball. I said we'd help, didn't I? Before we go rushing off in search of that coffin, though, there's preparations to be made. You might as well get back to your usual heroical employment, Shent. I'll let you know when it's time to round up your mates again. The time is nigh, my dear Talons. Soon we shall seize control of the ghost ship and all its power, and rule the skies from here to the ends of the world. Complete, give me the money. Achievement unlocked, paying the bills. What's that one? Oh, complete the rule to rule the skies. Stacy appears to be in need of your assistance. Except, Shint, I was just about to fly out to Ishgard and track you down. You remember Cat Safe? Or Kate Sith? I don't know. The Mackay familiar? We've been working with him on a plan to find Diablos and the Queen's coffin. They've been void sense sightings from pirates all over, so we know that Batwing bugger is hiding someplace in the sky. We just don't know exactly where. And as for going about pinpointing the location, the Iford and the feline are bickering over just exactly how. That's where you come in. If you have a moment to spare, we could use a third opinion to break the stalemate. Besides all that, Leoford's eager to have another hand to help in the search, so come on over to the Park as soon as you're able. You know the way from here, don't you? Thanks for coming. The Captain and the Cat are inside, still having their discussion. Talk to Leoford, will you, before I strangle the both of them? Like squabbling children, the pair of them. Help Leoford settle this, would you? Shent, a rational mind such as yours is most welcome. Pray reason with the wind-addled brigand. If you're here to ask about the Queen's coffin, then you'd best turn around and walk straight out again. This aggravating furball's turning me mood sour as month-old addled goat milk. The Ferd Shent's come all this way to help us. At your request, I might add. He deserves to hear where we stand on the search, at least. The search is giving me ulcers, is what it is. By all reports, Diabolos is lurking somewhere in the heavens building up his forces, but the sky is a vast dome, as high as the ocean is deep, and we're not the pirates to scour every damn floating rock. And when I tried my luck with Redalia, you remember her, don't you? Captain of the Talons, blonde hair, one eye, stole our bloody compass? Well, I've been eavesdropping on that link pearl I've slipped into the casing, hoping to catch something useful, but all I've heard from her and her sorry crew is snoring, grumbling, and japes about the Archbishop's holy nethers. In the end, it seems we've no choice but to do this the hard way. But a certain meowling annoyance refuses to acknowledge the truth of it. You cannot possibly hope to investigate the entire sky with this meager handful of ne'er-dwells. I find my suggestion to seek aid from your fellow pirate gangs a perfectly reasonable one under the circumstances. Ah, stow it, you mangy alley cat. You've not the faintest idea of how sky pirates operate. Best case scenario, we'd be locked into the deal to hand over any treasures we find, and that's assuming we weren't left out of the room to begin with. You cannot assume that every man and woman shares your base morality. If we but made the attempt, I am sure we could convince some few of the nobility of our cause. And so it goes round and round. Knowing pirates as I do, I find myself siding with the captain on this. But what of you, Shent? Any thoughts on the matter? I don't know. I could try seeking aid from other crews. I feel like we could handle ourselves. What? You're siding with the furball? I would have thought you'd learned a thing or two about sky pirates by now. However we tackle things, though, we've a long road ahead of us. I'll see if I can't think of a better way to shorten it. Might as well head back to your adventures, Shent. Unless you're willing to lend us your experience in another matter, that is. Utata, our chief engineer, has been mumbling about the Void Ark and cursing under her breath for days. Might be as you can provide her some insight into her dilemma. She is conducting her research in the Sea of Clouds, yes? Well, I should rather discuss the properties of the Void Ark than continue with this fruitless debate. I shall see you down there, Shent. While waiting for word on Diabolos, I have been spending my time learning to pilot the Red Bills like airships. Thankfully, it seems I've mastered enough of the basics to manage this little jaunt. Mayhap I could make contact with some other pirates without Leofrid's mediation. But let us first address Mr. Sutata's woes, shall we? What troubles you, Mr. Sutata? We were told that some matter regarding the Void Ark was causing you no measure of grief. Oh God. Mr. Sutata, what are you... I feel so much better now. My apologies, Kate Sith. You have the misfortune to enter my field of view just as I felt the intense desire to squeeze something warm and furry. This damnable ecto-compass. I made another one, you see, identical in all respects to the first compass that Radlia stole. But look, it points in a completely different direction to where the Void Ark should currently be. I don't understand what I did wrong. I used the same plans, the same parts. I can imagine that would be infuriating, as you are certain that there are no flaws in the design or the materials. Positive! I've tweaked and adjusted and replaced every single piece, but it refuses to function as intended. I'm on the verge of tossing the blasted thing over the edge. What do you make of it, Shent? I don't think it's broken. Yes, I'm inclined to agree. Judging by your previous work, it would seem unlikely that the compass itself is defective. We must consider other factors. Might you explain to us the principle by which the ectocompass tracks the void arc? It all comes down to etheric signature. I discovered that the void arc is encompassed by an energy of rather peculiar composition, so I simply tuned the compass to follow its unique trail. An energy of peculiar composition, you say? Of course. The arc was propelled by the siphoned energy of void scent. Could it be that the compass was tracking not the vessel itself, but the aether of the entities imprisoned within? That would certainly explain why the compass now points in a different direction than the one would expect. After all, Diabolos and the Shadow Queen are no longer on board the ark. Are you implying that if we plotted a course based on the readings from the ectocompass, we would arrive on the demon's doorstep? Doorstep, so to speak? Just so, Mr. Sutata. Assuming my theory is correct, we no longer require outside assistance to pursue our elusive quarry. Oh, Stacia, what perfect timing! You wouldn't believe the wonderful discovery we just... Talon ships have been spotted en route to our nest. If it's revenge they're looking for, we'd best head back and make ready for them. We made it, thank the gods. And I like it. Why have the Talons come here without their captain? Where's Redalia? It don't appear that these pirates have come with murder and pillage in mind. Quite the opposite, in fact. They seem rather bedraggled and beaten. Oh, because they also, instead of going to the ship, got sent to the void scent place because of the compass. Oh, God. That's unfortunate. Sorry about your damn luck. Truce, Red Bill. We need your help to save Captain Radlia. Huh? You're one of Radlia's favorites. You threatened my crew, steal our compass, and now you're crawling to me for help? What kind of unholy mess have you Cretans stumbled onto? We took your damn compass, but didn't show us to the ghost ship. We ended up at some moldy old ruins, lousy with void scent. Before we knew it, some sort of spider demon was knocking our ships out of the sky. 2 of us managed to pull away, but we saw what happened to them as got caught on the ground. The captain survived the massacre. She's stuck with no wings to fly out again. Why don't you give that Link Pro a listen, Captain? Might as we can learn if Redalia is alive or dead at least. So much buzzing. Can't hear a blast. Wait, I'm getting some words. Or after... Okay, artifact. Damn demons are searching. Hide! And then a bunch of screaming. Seems Redalia is still kicking for now, but who knows for how long. Those screams were an act, then consider me fooled. I don't think the Talons are laying a trap here. I have half a mind to leave Redalia to her fate. But I never turn me back on an adventure, especially when the scent of treasure is in the air, eh? Now tell me, where you found these ruins? You'll help us then. You're good men, Red Bill. We left the captain in the Safem Saltmoor, just northwest of Mordona. And Yefim, you say? You must speak of the ruined shell of Mach itself. By Shatau's black heart, could they be after the Nullstone? What's that, puss? You think you know what those fiends are after? Right. Utata, see that these talons are patched up, and then have Remil, and then have the Remil ready to fly. And don't spare the oil. You know I love to hear her purr. Shint, Stacia, bring the furball to my quarters, and we'll have ourselves a chat about our impending trip to Old Mach. He's so ready. When Leifert asked me to pay special attention to his airship, that's a sign he's fully committed to his next adventure. He had the same spark right before he left aboard the Void Ark. You're wondering why his ship is named Remil? I never gave it much thought, but I'd wager that it was the name of his first love. Or maybe it was a pet. You know, we've never been friendly with the Talons, but that don't mean we can just sit back and let them be torn to shreds by cackling Voidsent. I never imagined Diabolos would seek to enter the old city. Ah, but I should have suspected as much when I learned that the floodwaters had receded and left Viefim exposed. Right, Furball, let's hear about this artifact that Diabolos is looking for. If I am to speak of the Nullstone, then I must first explain the method by which Makai sorcerers would bind the Voidsent into service. The more powerful the Voidsent, the more difficult it is to manifest its presence in this world. Their own immense strength weighs them down like an anchor, you see, preventing them from breaking the surface of our dimension. And that is why they cooperate with mortal sorcerers. A mage can provide a suitable vessel for the summoning, or rip a large enough hole in the fabric of reality for the entity itself to step through. And let me guess, the mage forces the Voidsent to agree to a pact in return for the invitation to our world. That is correct, but it would be foolhardy to expect such devious and malevolent creatures to abide by the spirit of even the most carefully worded contract. Thus did the Makai Magi construct an occult device that would more securely bind the Voidsent to their will, a safeguard of sorts, that to the best of my knowledge yet lies entombed within the remnants of the ancient city. The Nullstone was seen as the last resort. Should a Voidsent break its pact and turn on its summoner, the mage could use the relic to disperse the very essence of even the most potent entity, obliterating it completely. I can't see the royals of the Voidsent taking too kindly to a threat like that. Seems those sorcerers were just as ruthless as the monsters they summoned. When it came to the glory of Mach, the ends justified the means. In any event, we can be certain that Diabolos seeks to secure the Nullstone before it falls into mortal hands, and thereby ensuring that Katash will reign unopposed. Alright, So we know what the fiends are after, but what I don't understand is why such a valuable relic was left behind when the mages knew a colossal flood was on the way. Its value was the very reason they chose not to risk its relocation. The nullstone is kept within a structure constructed for the purpose, secured behind powerful wards and protected by deadly guardians. With the rising of the waters, they reasoned that the artifact would be sunk along with the city, far beyond the reach of vengeful Voidsent. But now that XIV is more swamp than sea, the demons only have the wards and the guardians to deal with, and I doubt they'd be wasting their time down there in the mud if they didn't have some trick to break through the wards. This has become a race to see who can nab the treasure first, which is just the sort of contest a sky pirate lives for. So we slip into the ruins, pinch the relic, then rescue Rhodelia right from under the fiends' noses. Well, I suppose we could save her while we were poking around for loot. I'll grab the new compass from Mutata so we know where we're going. Check your weapons, pack your small clothes, and meet me out by the lantern when we're ready to fly. Yahoo! So all we need to do is rescue Captain Rhodelia from a mob of nasty Voidsent, then retrieve a dangerous artifact from a magically defended ruins of an ancient civilization. Easy, eh? I shall join you in this endeavor to recover the Nullstone, though after 1500 years I wonder what remains of the city I once knew. We'll fly directly to XIV from here. Once we arrive, you forge ahead with your band of adventurers as you did on the auction. Just keep slicing into the depths until you reach that Nullstone. We don't want to risk getting knocked out of the sky like the Talon, so we'd best land a little ways out of the ruins and head in on foot. The Furball says he knows the place well enough to guide you, so me and the Redbills will follow behind on rescue duty. You concentrate on smashing a path through to the artifact. We'll check the nooks and crannies for Rhodelia and her crew. Don't let your guard down once you reach the ruins, though, eh? There's likely golems and such in there that are worse than the fiends outside, and we wouldn't want our hero losing his head now, would we? The Weeping City. Alright. We'll join it, however... We'll do some side quests while we wait. Hey, Briarden, long time no see. Briarden is on the verge of a breakthrough. Given how poorly this man has covered his tracks, I am inclined to believe that he will come to the Croziers sooner rather than later to procure the usual assortment of goods. Let's head then, Shent. We must follow the trail while it is still fresh. A suspect could arrive at any moment. Keep your eyes peeled. If he comes this way to purchase food and medicines from Miss Dunno as frequently as Blazy notes indicates, we shouldn't have long. Shent, over there. That scar. Those robes. That's our man. Pleasure to see you again, sir. The usual. Aye, and don't forget the you-know-what. Hurry, Shent. We mustn't let him out of our sight. A suspect just passed through the Arch of the Worthy, where there are like to be fewer people. Take care not to be spotted. Here our suspect is not alone. He has a guard with him. I should like very much to know the contents of that carriage. Keep them distracted while I sneak past, will you? Approach them and announce you are here to conduct a surprise investigation. You'll undoubtedly command their full attention for a sufficient amount of time. Are you ready, Shent? Very good. With the chat mode in Say, use the keyboard or the software keyboard to enter any phrase containing the word inspection to draw the merchant and his guard attention. Stop! You're under inspection. There we go. Now, no. Inspection? What in the seven hells are you on about? You're no temple knight. You've no right. Unless... I trust the goods have been properly secured. The carriage is ready for a quick getaway if necessary. Right then, where were we? Yes. We will not be consenting to your inspection. Now kindly piss off! Damn it, boy, what are you doing? My apologies, sir. I thought I saw movement around back. Maybe I should go and check. Idiot, can't you see this goon is intent on starting a fight? Take care of him first and conduct your check after. As for you, you should have run while you still had the chance. Go, Brad, and go. Hit him with the Zoro. Subdued, I killed them. What the heck? It was as we suspected. The thug and his guard have been holding Ula hostage in the back of this carriage ever since she vanished. While this has undoubtedly caused her a deal of distress, she does not appear to be physically injured. While you are doubtless eager to question her, as I am, she must be given time to rest and recuperate. These two, on the other hand, need not be afforded any such consideration. You there! What is the meaning of this? It seems all that earlier commotion has drawn the attention of the guards. Excellent. They can deal with the ruffians. I shall escort Ula to the Scholasticate dormitory and speak with the instructors. When all this has been settled, let us speak again at St. Raymond's Cathedral. You should be glad to hear that Ula will be fine. Sister Gaetel is with her now, tending to her needs as we speak. I expect she will soon be strong enough to answer our questions. Until then, however, we must make do with the information the Temple Knights can extract from the kidnappers. Unfortunately, while the ruffians confess to abducting Ula in exchange for a large sum of gil, they have told us little else of value thus far. Apparently their employer draped themselves in such thick furs that they could not even say if they were a man or a woman. They claim this cloaked figure offered no explanation as to why they wanted them to snatch the girl and keep her confined to the carriage indefinitely, and so they had no choice but to keep moving, to stay ahead of the Temple Knights and to wait for the instructions. Hopefully, we will learn more as the interrogations progress. I fear, however, our mastermind has cloaked themselves in layer upon layer of secrecy, and it will take more than a few pointed questions to penetrate all of them. But regardless of how well they have hidden their intentions and their identity, we'll bring them to justice soon enough. And once we learn all we can from our friends in the Temple Knight's custody, as well as Ula, we'll be that much closer to restoring peace to the Scholasticate. Shine the light of truth upon the secrets buried in the dark, the children once more come together, that they may know her power and her glory. Back to school too. Bryden's eyes smolder with determination. Ah, Shint, I was wondering when you'd show up. The Temple Knights have deemed Ula fit to recount the events of her kidnapping, and have taken her into the room just beyond for questioning, with Blazy to accompany for support. It would appear the questioning is done. Let us see what we might learn. Hail, the good man. I'm Inspector Bryden, and this is my associate Shint. I understand that you have spoken with Ula regarding her kidnapping. Is there aught you might share with us? Ah. Inspector Bryden, Master Shint. I fear that it would seem the Lady Ula knows even less of her abduction than we do. As she tells that the only people she saw during her captivity were the two thugs now in our custody. We questioned them thrice over, but they insist their employer had disguised themselves so well they couldn't even say for certain if they are a man or woman, much less give us a description. For what little it's worth, we did learn that the two were once orphans, raised as charges of the sea. Did it betray the nation that fed and clothed them for a handful of coin? But I must return to my post. Should we come across anything of actual significance, I shall be sure to alert you. Blazy, are there any details our friend may have neglected to mention? I fear that Ula's testimony proved entirely unenlightening. There is another development, however, that has been troubling me. Rumors that the Arch was behind the abductions are circulating around the Scholasticate once more. Again with those asinine allegations. And this time, the students seem convinced more than ever of his guilt. No longer content to sit back and wait for events to take their course, they've been pushing for his expulsion. Theo has been doing his best to convince them to disregard the rumors, but it seems any mention of Ark only seems to fuel the rage. I must hurry back and help him. I suspect that this is less a reflection on the prefect himself than a manifestation of aimless anxiety and fear. Still, I dare say this commotion might prove to be an opportunity in disguise. I shall make my way to the vault to continue my own investigations. In the meantime, I ask that you go and keep an eye on the seminarians and an ear to the ground. Oh, okay, I can do that. Hey, we're slowly getting there. Pray keep your voice down. Yeah, I know. Huh? What if those ruffians truly were in his employ? Are we to stand idly by until he betrays one of us, and as he did poor Ula? His refusal to provide us with anything resembling a reasonable explanation speaks for itself. The boy is guilty, and I say we move to have him expelled from the Scholasticate, effective immediately. Theo, I demand that you take lead of this charge. Thank the fear you've come, Shent. Since the headmistress called everyone away for an emergency meeting, it's been absolute chaos. They're so incensed they won't listen to a word Theo or I say. Perhaps if you were to speak with them, it would help to soothe their angry feelings. Wow. Enough is enough. I refuse to tolerate his presence within his halls even one more day. Please, calm yourselves. Before we take any drastic measures, let us discuss the matter like rational men. One thing's for sure, if he didn't deserve it for this, he deserves it for something else. I think we should let the student body have him. The frustration and anxiety they've been building ever since Uther first went missing has finally come to the surface. For better or worse, it's all been directed at Ark. I'm sick of Ark always pushing us around. If we don't take action now, what's to stop him from continuing to make our lives miserable or worse? I fear their anger will drive them to do something we'll forever regret. Please, can you try and talk some sense back into them? So what if we've no proof that he had a hand in Ula's abduction? He's guilty of so much more than that, just like anyone who suffered under his reign of terror. There's no solid evidence against Ark, just these vague rumors that keep making the rounds. With all the resentment towards him, however, I guess that was all that was needed to indict him. Wait, what? Oh. Soothe with an E, sorry. On second thought, I dare say you have the right of it. The prefect has the riches of House Dismail at his disposal. Powerful allies just waiting to spring to his aid. Must step back and consider our actions carefully, lest we find ourselves strung up by the necks. So you would suggest we do nothing? The longer we dither without taking action, the greater the risk of him finding out. And when he does, he'll see every last one of us suffer for it, mark my words. He is frightened, as we all are. But that is precisely why we must proceed with caution. As you rightly observe, if we act out of anger or despair, we only doom ourselves to failure. Please, sir, if you would rally his spirits as you have calmed mine own. With his wealth and influence, who knows what he could do to us? Come on, you got this. But of course, it is exactly as you say. Forgive me, my fear had gotten the better of me. Indeed, there is little he can do to us if we act as one, and proceed with due caution. And remember, once Ark is removed from the school, the administration will keep us safe, so we need not fear his retribution ever again. We must move swiftly, but surely, to ensure his expulsion. Theo, can we count on you to lead us? Thank you, Shent. Now that everyone is feeling more at ease, let us open the floor for discussion. I welcome any and all options, or even opinions, provided that they are delivered in a calm and orderly fashion. I believe there is just cause to expel Ark, as Shent was kind enough to point out. However, we should not act brashly. That is why you, Theo, with your calm demeanor, are best suited to head our appeal to have him removed. What say you? Given the way he's treated you in the past, I can understand why you'd readily assume the worst of him. I cannot help but believe, however, that he too is a victim in all this. I strain to think that anyone who cares so deeply about the Scholasticate and its inhabitants could commit such an atrocity. Theo, for the Fury's sake! You would defend the very individual who for the past several years ridiculed and tortured us. Is it so impossible for you to believe that he is capable of such villainy? Until there is proof to say he is guilty, we must give him the benefit of the doubt. Theo's right, I bear no great love for Ark either, but even the Temple Knights have been unable to uncover a single piece of evidence tying him to the kidnapping. The same knights who have pulled the wool over our eyes for 1,000 years, stripping us of all we own to protect men like him. How heartening that is to hear. I would have thought that after all you'd endured at Ark's hands, you would stand with us. I see I was wrong. Friends, it would seem the commoner has grown too content under the nobleman's yoke to fight for his ideals. If we are to see justice served, we must do so with our own strength, our own voices. Let us draft a petition that our grievances might be heard and the blackguard expelled. How can they be so blind? The villain who kidnapped Uther is playing us all for fools, stoking the flames of hatred that we might all be consumed by them. Oh god, we lost more people. No! The Amazon looks down and sighs in defeat. If only I could have done more to dissuade them. This blind persecution will only serve to further divide us, and Ark's expulsion would be a tremendous loss for the Scholasticate. Why will no one listen to reason? Theo, there's still time to turn things around. I'm sure of it. I'll help you in any way I can. Thank you, Blazy, for your kind words. Indeed, it's not too late to reverse the course of today's events. We should try speaking with Father Saturnoise. Surely he'll know what to do. Incredible. Despite all that, he's still intent on saving Ark. Shent, there's no talking him out of it now. Considering how our last discussion ended, I would put me much at ease if you would accompany us. I shall be staying behind. There are a few things I would attend to here. My dear Blazy, if you would, I would do with an extra pair of hands. In that case, Lay, Shent, let us make haste to the cathedral. The headmistress's meeting will not run forever, and we must catch Father Saturnoy before the others do. The Omniscient, Lay, and Shent Whatever brings you here in such a hurry? Ah, mayhap it concerns the petition I just received from the student body. Not to worry, rest assured that I've reviewed the document and will be submitting it to the headmistress shortly, along with my own strong recommendation in favor of Ark's immediate and irrevocable expulsion from the Scholasticate. Wait, Father! We are not here in support of the petition, but rather to argue against it. We cannot rightly expel Ark for a crime that the evidence, or lack thereof, suggests he did not even commit. Quite true, and yet it is not because I believe him guilty that I have chosen to move forward with this proposal. Then why? For too long has our church been corrupted by men and women who would see its foundation built upon sin instead of virtue. I mean to put an end to this vicious cycle. What are you saying? Theomacent lay, there is something you must know. When I was young, I too was taken under the wing of Father Choiseau. Choiseau? It was by his good graces that I gained admission into the Scholasticate, not unlike yourselves. I devoted myself entirely to my studies, that I might prove myself worthy of his kindness. My dedication was rewarded when I graduated at the top of my class and secured a prized position in the archives, alongside some of the Holy See's most esteemed individuals. It was there that I met the man who would become my closest friend and confidant. For 10 years he had toiled in the sea's darkest recesses, working to see the ugly truth of Ishgar's past would never see the light of day, till the day the burden grew so great to bear he took his own life. For years I was torn between grief and anger at not being able to save him from his fate. Fearing my anguish would consume me, I found succor in my religion. Day and night I pored over scripture, and soon I found myself back in these very halls, not as a student, but as a teacher. A tragic story indeed, and you have my condolences for your loss. But what does any of this have to do with Ark? Of the furies of love with all men receive, and by the bounds of his spear will all be set free. Doubtless you too are familiar with these words. Those who deny the teaching of Volume 11 commit the greatest sin of all. They must bear full responsibility for the injustices wrought on the victims of our society. Master Ark has done naught but scorn the truths penned within the tome. His dismissal is long overdue. This is madness. The Fury knows I bear no love for the bastard, but what you propose is to lay the blame for generation upon generation of the Church's transgressions at his feet. I do only what must be done. Countless lives were lost in the Dragon Song War. We must needs purge the Church of any who espouse the false ideal that all men are not born equal, that the sins of our past are never repeated, and that the clergy might be restored to their former glory. I have faith in you, my children. Reflect on the teaching of Father Choiseau. If you do not understand now, you will soon enough. It is true that Father Choiseau was an ardent advocate of equality, who strove always to adhere to the principles espoused and equal under her ever-watchful gaze. 'Tis equally true that Ark has been outspoken in condemning that selfsame passage. Still, that hardly warrants his expulsion. You must admit the man has a point. Making an example of the son of one of Ishgar's most prominent houses would send a message, and it just might be the fastest way to bring about the change he seeks. Whether or not that change would be for the better, however, is another matter entirely. It was one thing when it was just an angry mob of cemeterians calling for Ark's head. Now that Father Satanoy intends to lead the charge, it's another matter entirely. Whatever are we to do? We must speak with Ark. But of course, Ark's nothing if not astute. He's sure to have an idea or two of how to extricate himself from this predicament. Come, let's make for the pillars. Shem, what should we do? I've never seen them like this. That's why Ark has been rampaging along Scholastic. Call me crazy, but I almost feel sorry for Libra. This has nothing to do with you. What baseless accusations would you hurl at me this time? Attempting to destroy the church? Or perhaps you're here to bring light the personal hand I had in instigation of Dragon Song War? Perhaps instead of entertaining such ridiculous rumors you hear, you might actually make yourself useful for once. You can start by questioning these two besides you. After all, they're the ones who arranged this entire farce and have been spreading these letters in a pathetically transparent attempt to incriminate me that I might be expelled. Please listen, Ark. We know that the accusations being levied at you are unfounded. I know we've had our differences, but today we've come to lend you our aid. He's so full of rage, he can scarce hear a word I say. Please, Shen, perhaps you can try soothing him? Ha! Don't make me laugh. You expect me to believe that you, the two who would stand to gain the most from my expulsion, have not so much as seen the nonsense that have been making the rounds in the dormitories? The truth revealed, Ark did his male a kidnapper. Trust me, were we to try to implicate you in a crime we didn't commit, we would have done a far more thorough job than this. Indeed, these writings simply make an appeal to emotion, with not a single piece of concrete evidence to support the accusation. Fine. Perhaps it wasn't you two after all. Still, you rest assured that when I get my hands on the commoner that did this, they'll rue the day they thought to meddle with the affairs of House's mail. You best realize we commoners are not the only ones on trial here. You are. I suggest you watch your tongue, unless you would prefer to lose the only allies you seem to have these days. Do not lose heart, Ark. Together we'll uncover the truth and see that this baseless petition against you is withdrawn. Why would I need your help? My innocence is beyond question, and the Fury herself will see my good name restored. I pray that she will. In the meantime, we too shall do our part. Fury's sake, Theo, leave it be. That aside, where did these papers even come from? And why didn't we receive one? If I had to guess, perhaps they were given only to those most inclined to believe the accusations. Foolishness at best. If anything, these letters will only give me the clues I need to identify the coward behind them. As a matter of fact, I believe I know precisely where to begin my search. Brilliant! We'd be more than happy to assist you in the investigation. Where would you have us go? And hand you the very knife you had put in my back? You think me daft? If the petition is approved and I am expelled, that would put you right at the top of the class. How very convenient. Oh, Ark, don't you see? It is not for awards or accolades that I study the scripture as you do, or as I do. I seek only to follow in the footsteps of Father Choiseul. It was he who granted me the chance to achieve the grand vision he had for our realm, and bring relief to those in need of spiritual succor. Of the Fury's love with all men receive, and by the balance of her spirit will all be set free. I would share the wisdom of these words with all of Ishgard. Volume 11 of the 72 Articles of Hellenic Polity. What is it with commoners and their obsession with that over-idealistic greed? Come, Ark, let us not waste any further time entertaining the idle musings of the riffraff. Look, we can manage just fine without your help, but if you do find something, not that we expect you to, you'll report back to us if you know what's good for you. Understood? My God. If I didn't know any better, I'd almost say that sounded like a thank you. Well, if there's nothing else to do here, I suppose we should set to work. An excellent idea, Lay. Where do you propose we should start? Fury save us. Spectacles! Hey, an inspector's eyeglasses. Nice! I'm gonna decline at the moment. What does I have to say? Theo wasn't so insistent on helping the bastard. I'd have left him to find his own way out of this mess. We lost a person. God damn it. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get into the raid today. No. Well, it is what it is. If we could only track down the author of the letters and convince them to recant these statements, the student body would have no choice but to withdraw their motion. But where would we even search? By searching for more of the same document? A brilliant plan, Shind. By examining all the letters that have been distributed throughout the Scholasticate, we may very well find clues leading us to the culprit. Settled then. Let's return to the Scholasticate and continue our search. Oh wait, we gained a couple. More than a few other students tossed the papers in the rubbish without so much as reading them. Thankfully, I was able to scavenge some of the ones that had been thrown away. Few of the seminarians were generous enough to lend us letters they received. Upon closer examination, it would appear that while the overarching message is the same, the precise arguments may differ from letter to letter. Whatever could this mean? Theo has already apprised me of the situation. Not that he needed to, mind you. And for that very reason, I remain behind with Blazy to investigate the origin of the nasty rumors flying about. It didn't take long for us to connect the rumors to the letters and coax one of the seminarians to show us the document they had received. I investigated further, and behold, these are all the ones I managed to collect in my search thus far. Under normal circumstances, the baseless invectives penned here would hardly suffice to convince anyone. It would seem, however, years of harbored animosity have blinded people to their better judgment. Oh yes, in fact, Cram and I have been gathering letters all morning. Feast your eyes on this. One of the girls said the letter was just said that the letter just showed up on her bed, as if out of nowhere. I returned to my quarters to check if I had received something similar, but there was nothing to be found. First I thought it was a simple oversight, but after asking around I learned that there were more than a few others too, like me, that had been overlooked. Suspicious letters? Whatever are you talking about? I've not received anything of the sort. Now that you mention it, however, I did observe some of the seminarians tossing out crumpled slips of paper. Maybe these are the letters you seek? Ah, Shent, did your search prove fruitful? Limited slip of paper with hastily penned accusations written upon it, alleging that Ark de Dismail is responsible for Ula's kidnapping. Thought we had 5. Excellent, let's take a closer look and see what we can discern. How curious. It appears our culprit has gone through the trouble of writing and distributing 3 distinctly different versions of the letter. The first reads, as illustrated by the recent abductions that has taken place within these sacred halls, Ark will stop at nothing to eliminate those who stand in his way. Such blatant disrespect of her teachings must not be tolerated. The second says, it is one thing to disagree with the opinions of your fellow seminarians, quite another to abuse one's influence to have your ideological opponents removed. Ula, a firm believer in the teachings of Volume 11 of the Articles of Hellenic Polity and staunch advocate of equality, fell victim to Ark's treachery. The villain cannot go unpunished. And last but not least, Ula's copy of Volume 11 was discovered in the prefix room shortly after the girl's disappearance. This, more than anything, proves beyond a shadow of a doubt that Ark is guilty. While the final letter at least offers an argument, it's hardly a compelling one. Correct me if I'm mistaken, but aren't there several copies of the Articles of Hellenic Polity sitting on our library shelves? While I cannot speak of why Ark would have one in the first place, the book found in his quarters could have been any one of those. Blazy, when you spoke with Ula earlier, did she mention anything about Volume 11? I didn't think anything of it at the time, but while Ula was recovering in the infirmary, she asked that I retrieve her copy from her room. When I went to look for it, it wasn't there. Which would mean that the tome was removed, unbeknownst to her. So it would seem, after all, she testified that when the two thugs seized her at the marketplace, she had nothing on her person but a pocket of gil. Presumably, the book was still in her quarters then. It would be one thing if the book had disappeared with Ula, but for someone to... Goodness, sorry. For someone to sneak into her room and remove it after the fact? Oh, it's as if the culprit intended to use it to frame Ark all along. Why, I'd bet my last gil you're right. That's the reason none of us received a letter. We're the only people who would be able to confirm with Ula that the book had been pilfered from her room. But who would go to such great lengths to frame Ark? That's our Theo, always striving to help his fellow man, even if that man is all that stands between him and the top of the class. It's enough to leave a girl smitten, isn't it, Blazy? But what are you talking about? I'm not smitten. I just admire him for his kind heart, is all. But Blazy, why ever did she dash off like that? Has she taken ill? In a manner of speaking, I'll go and make sure she's okay. Oh dear. Well, whatever it is, I hope she recovers quickly. In the meantime, we need to put our heads together if we hope to get out of this mess. Shint, what do you think? Why would anyone go to such lengths to implicate Ark? Throw others off the scent? But of course, none save the kidnapper himself or herself would have such a strong motive to concoct this convoluted plan, which raises the possibility that the kidnapping was not but a plot to have Ark expelled in the first place. In other words, if we can track down the person behind those letters, we'll have ourselves the culprit behind Ula's abduction. We must inform Inspector Bryden straight away. Currently conducting investigation at the vault, you say? Let us make our way there with all speed. Blazy's quicker than she looks. I gave up my search when it began, but I had no chance of finding her, and was on my way back when, lo and behold, who do I see but you three? Perfect vantage point from here. That's him over there. Oh, it's you. What brings you all the way here? Do you have something to report? I see. Show me these letters. I shall determine if they are suspicious as you insist. This is everything we've been able to find. Al goes out of his way to mention that Uza's copy of Volume 11 was found in Ark's room. The fool. If his feeble plot to frame the prefect, he has only incriminated himself. I trust that you, too, have put the pieces together. You have proven an able associate indeed. From here, however, that the real work begins. Should at any time you begin to feel your powers of concentration waver or your attention to detail slip, you need but do this. Take a deep breath and focus your eyes into the distance. In that moment, the solution will appear before you. The game is afoot, and if we intend to win the day, we must remain vigilant. Now, let's get our man. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da. You learn the emote spectacles. We lost the tank but gained a healer. My god. I think I missed something. What exactly are we going after? Seeing the connection, but how does this help us detect the identity of the perpetrator? Dr. Braden truly is amazing. Why he's cracked the case with little more than scattered scraps of evidence, literally. So a smirk steals across Braden's face as all the pieces of the puzzle falls into place. Before we begin pursuing our man in earnest, answer me this. Can any of you tell me where Ula's copy of Volume 11 currently is? Letter says it was found in Ark's room, though for all we know, that could be complete and utter bollocks. Shent, I see you've managed to keep your word to Libra. Very good. Allow me to enlighten the rest of you. The tome is currently in my possession. Libra discovered it in Ark's room and turned it over to us in secret for fear it would fuel the ongoing rumors. Now knowing what we do, it is time to put your minds to the test. What do you surmise is the relationship between our talented writer friend and the thief that lifted the book from Ula's quarters? They're one and the same. A sensible deduction. The planting of the book in Ark's quarters and the subsequent distribution of these letters are both carried out to a common end, to implicate the prefect in Ula's abduction and force his expulsion. We stand to reason that the perpetrators are either working in tandem or in fact are one and the same. While that in itself does not reveal the identity of the culprit, it does lead us to our next question. Who would have been able to enter and exit Ula's room unnoticed? The perpetrator was able to move quickly and not draw attention to themselves in the act, leading me to believe our book snatcher had easy access to all rooms within the dormitory. Now you might ask, keys. Something only 3 people currently possess. Father Satinois, the prefects, Ark, and Libra. So one of them is a culprit. But which could it be? It couldn't be. I know, it was Ark. Think about it. It explains why he was so adamant in refusing our help. But what sense is there in him stealing the book when the only thing it would serve to do is implicate him in a crime he may not have even committed? Then that leaves Libra as the only other person aside from the inspector and Shintu came into contact with the book. I'd say he's a prime suspect. It certainly is suspicious, but what motive could he possibly have? If only there was a way we could glean the answer. Shant, I hear that you possess a great gift. One which you employed to reveal long-hidden truths about our nation. Might you not be able to use this power to shine some light onto the matter at hand? So it is not yours to control. I guess that means we'll have need to rely on our own wits to obtain the answers we seek. Fortunately, I have an idea of my own, but I'll need your help to see it through. Well then, Theo, let us put this idea of yours into action. Last I heard, Ark and Libra have taken refuge in Dismail Manor. Let's make our way there post-haste. I'll leave it to you to see that the bumblings of those three do not interfere with the final stages of my investigation at the vault. But do not tarry long. With Father Satinois throwing his full support behind the petition, Ark has but a few bells before his name is permanently struck from the registry. I shall do what I can to see that the proceedings are delayed, but I cannot guarantee it will buy us all the time we need. Godspeed, Shint. I'll see you at the hearing. As you can see, Ark and I are discussing important matters at the moment. If you have something to report, pray to return later. If they're at again, what are we to do? Again? I wouldn't take this kind of treatment sitting down. Whatever Thea's brilliant plan is, I certainly hope he took this into account. And now we lost the healer. Findings. As if anything you four managed to dig up can help me now. The hearing is about to begin. My fate is as good as sealed. There's still time, Ark. Earlier you pledged your innocence to us. Let us pledge it once more. At the hearing before one and all, the truth shall speak for itself. The truth. I expect those fools to see the truth when this evidence to the contrary is staring them in the face. How do you think this plan your pea-sized minds have concocted will succeed where all the Libra's best attempts have failed? We will succeed, Ark, for it is not just I that stands with you, but the hero who brought to light the truth behind our very nation. Yes, there is nothing that he has not seen. Surely you understand the implications of this, don't you, Libra? Shent has the ability to peer into events of the past, indeed. It was through his visions that Ishkar's true origins were brought to light. You need say no more. He's already used his vaunted power to see that I was the one behind it all. Yes, it was I that kidnapped Ula. It was I that snuck into her room and stole Volume 11. And it was I that distributed the letters, also that I might implicate Ark. Damn. He hasn't seen every fish in the game for one. Yeah, I haven't really been doing much of the fishing or the crafting, the harvesting, gathering, and crafting. How satisfying it is to finally be able to say it aloud. For so long I have had For so long I have had to plot my revenge in silence and mask my hatred of you with hollow praise and bashful smiles. Libra, what madness is this you speak? You truly are oblivious, aren't you? Allow me to enlighten you. After all the transgressions your family has committed against mine, did you truly think I would remain loyal to you? For centuries your house has humiliated us. It was something we'd come to accept. But when the wall between nobility and common class came tumbling down, we were met with the most harrowing truth of all. That all our suffering had been for naught. Everything we grew up believing about our status was a fabrication. Tall tales spun to keep us complacent. In reality, you've no better than the two broom rats beside you. You never were. It was a terrible realization, but one that also gave me hope. Hope that you could be taken down just as any other. That's when I began plotting. Uther's abduction, the letters and the rumors they spurred, all was part of my master plan, to bring shame and dishonor on you and your family, as you have mine. I have staked everything. Yes, even my very freedom. But it was worth it to give you a taste of our pain. What's more, I bribed the two kidnappers into abducting Ula with money from your purse. And having entrusted the management of your finances to me, you never suspected a thing. Libra, I can only imagine the pain you have endured, but to seek revenge in this way. Nevertheless, I thank you for confessing to your crimes. Now we can absolve Ark and the false charges brought against him. Wait a minute. You mean that he didn't actually see into the past? You deceived me. The look you... If you'll recall, Theo never explicitly said that Shen had a vision of what happened to Ula. He merely observed that he possessed such an ability. Truth be told, it's not even a power that can be controlled at will. Now then, Ark, I suppose that's all the proof of innocence you'll need. Let's escort Libra to the hearing and have him repeat his most dramatic confession before the headmistress. I never saw it. The hatred, I mean. How could I have been so blind? We've been friends from childhood. Never for a moment did I question his loyalty. What a fool I was. How did I think I could stand at the forefront of our nation? I was so oblivious to that which was happening under my very nose. Ark, pray do not torture yourself so. Rather open your heart and allow Halone's wisdom to set you free. Once you come to see Libra not only as your friend, but as your peer, I promise that the both of you will find a way to mend any bonds that have been broken. Of the Fury's love will all men receive, and by the balance of her spell will all be set free. You truly believe those words, don't you? You cling to them even when reality does all it can to prove you wrong. I suppose it is that unwavering faith that your friends find so endearing. Now then, it is time for me to put my own faith to the test, and face my fate head on. May the Fury have mercy. So what are we waiting around for? We're hearing to attend. I'll meet you two there. There's something I must confirm with the inspector first. Shent, I cannot shake the feeling that this affair runs far deeper than any of us could have imagined. If you would, please accompany Ark to his hearing and see to it that nothing goes awry in my absence. must say, Master Libra, that I am extremely disappointed that anyone, much less a student of our upstanding establishment, would commit such atrocities. I'm truly at a loss for words. Headmistress Elviane, if I may, do you not find the timing of these confessions to be incredibly convenient? As if Master Libra here has been coerced into admitting to crimes he himself did not commit. Let's not rush to condemn a man who may very well be innocent. Must also keep in mind that this incident will have repercussions that extend beyond the scholasticate. Distrust of our church has never been so high. If we were to expel either one of our prefects, both of whom have strong ties to House Dismail, we will lose any credibility our establishment still has in the eyes of the citizens. To this end, I would propose an alternate plan. We'll make a full disclosure of this scandal to the public, rather with an announcement that St. Edelim's Scholasticate will be temporarily closed. It is past time we pushed for a full reformation of the school and its curriculum. Incisive voice. And there it is, the confession I've been waiting for. God damn it! Commence! I have to commence. Confession. Master Bryden, explain yourself. From the start, I had my suspicions that someone was pulling strings behind the scenes. Someone who had secured a high enough position within the clergy to manipulate the students and the system. I pored through the records, closely examining any who fit this description. It was no easy task, but I finally found what I was searching for, and combined with the confession Theo obtained from Libra, I was able to uncover the true culprit. It's funny. Light party time. Oh my gosh. I've waited over an hour to get into this. I can't just not, you know. A weeping city of Mach. Oh. What? Richard Morris has it become? Could be one of the Talon's down vessels. Gahaha, there are more of you blood-filled morsels. How well I will sup this day. Alright. Alright, cool, cool. Oh. What manner of prey? Whoa! Portal. Ha, some of you survived. Convenient. I am in need of fresh souls to shatter the ward. Okay. Gosh darn it. Ooh. Oh, I fell. Oh no. Cool. I wasn't paying attention and I fell. That's horrible. Wow, okay. Awesome. I'm a fool. Oh, what? I don't know how I'm dying. I honestly don't know how I'm dying. Yeah. Damn it. I was hoping I could get through one without dying. Oh, I'm dead. Oh, I wasn't. Ex Machina. Oh, gosh. Oh, it's the stone. Who's gonna steal it? Because it's gonna get stolen, you know it is. So this is the heart of the ruins, eh? You've done a fine job dismantling the defenses, Shint. I only wish we could have say we had the same success. But Rodlia and her talons were nowhere to be found. That's because she's gonna come up and try to steal this from you. Yes, it is quite distressing, but we must focus on claiming the prize at hand. The Nullstone is ours. Mwahaha! You left me with such an inviting trail of destruction to follow. Oh. Fair Diad. I see you found the relic, then. Wonderful, Lord Diabolos. Be so pleased. And look here, I brought you a little gift as thank you for your hard work. This is the lovely lass you've been oh so desperately seeking, isn't it? Unless you wish to see her rent them from Lynn, then you will hand over the Nullstone. You think I care about her worthless limbs? That woman's done naught but cause us grief, and I just thought to crow over her grave. Don't give me that look, Radlia. What? You thought I was here to save your sorry hide? You've never been aught but an obstacle to me. Do you remember the first time we met? You were roaring with laughter at the sight of all them elegant relics until I used your pretty blonde head as a stepping stone. Damn you, you selfish bastard, and damn me for expecting you to act any different. If I had my weapons, I'd blow a bloody hole in your belly. Have you forgotten how awful a shot you are? Not much of a threat when I've seen you miss the side of the cathedral at Timyons. Silence, you grinning fool! You've ruined my moment, and now I'll ruin your smirking face. Now, puss. What? Ah, it burns! This world is not your stage, unholy harlequin. Begone from our realm. A clever farce, mortals, but the show is not over. Not until you scream. The bugger got away, and I think we'd best do the same. The bat. Now that we have now that was some excitement, wasn't it, Shent? Probably a little too much for Rodlia, but we gave her a bed to sleep off the worst of her ordeal. She'll likely be back to her usual cheerful self in no time. Quite a successful jaunt, all told. You and me, we make a pretty good partnership. Not bad. Well, I got words for you, Furball. You said that relic would obliterate a void sight completely. Seems to me that foppish fiend just got scorched before he slipped away. Oh, that? That was scarcely a fraction of the Nullstone's true power. Once I have learned how to unleash its full potential, such demons shall be consumed like gnats caught in a bonfire. So you're telling me our secret weapon ain't ready for battle? It might as well be wielding a blunt sword. Might I remind you that this blunt sword stung our foe sufficiently to free the lady pirate, a result we could not have achieved with your blustering words alone. Bah! I was ready to flee without Rodley if things took a turn for the worst. But you're right. You had the presence of mind to take advantage of my bluff, and it was your actions that saved her in the end. Alright, and with that, I'm gonna leave it here for now. Pick this back up next time. Hooray! Get more of our side quest done with Briarden, and whenever it's done, we can get to Hildebrand again, I think. At the very least, Nashu is in Ishgard, so I'm gonna assume we will be. And of course, continuing on with the raid quest line here. It's nice that I have the side quests to go to as I'm waiting for the raids to go. But yeah, alright. I gotta get ready for work. So until next time, I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day, rest of your evening, whichever it may be. And I'll see you next time. Bye, everybody.